Oh wow. I wonder how long that's been like that. That could be why our welds look like crap. Well, all right, guys, here we are back again. Got this green OBS in the shop today. You guys have not seen it in a while, and really I haven't touched it in a while because we've been working nonstop on 35 Chevy to get it running, driving, and yesterday we took it and got the tag put on it. So it is kind of more of a driving kind of project now. This one is it's actually a customer job that's been waiting on me to get the 35 Chevy done. So we're gonna, in this video, fit up the rust repair panels that we installed on this thing. We are going to get them welded in and the welds ground and maybe bodywork and primed. I don't know. We'll see how long it takes, but you know, we've done a good job so far. There's a overlap joint here, way overlapped here, and we've got to do all of our cutting to get that stuff fitted. The big thing was this piece. They don't repop, and it needed some rust repair. We got that done. This is all fitted up in here all the way up to this corner was the last place that we needed to do a little fitting. We put the door back on and made sure that it would shut okay and our gaps look good. So yeah, we just got to go back and do our finish fitting. Then we got to do our protection to keep from burning the truck down, and then we'll burn the panels onto the truck. So let's get into the video. All right, so can you see the end of that drill bit? It's not sharp, it's just flat. So I use that drill bit to go inside of my plug weld holes and just scrape off any kind of weld through primer or anything that might be on there, so I got nice clean metal to weld to. You know, they call that stuff weld through primer, but that is a misnomer. You shouldn't have it there contaminating the weld, so all you have to do is just take that drill bit, run it around in there. Yeah, take one of your old drill bits, guys, just flatten the end of it. Works great. All right, guys, so we're running 030 MIG wire, and I just have straight CO2 gas running in this. CO2 is cheaper to buy. It runs a little bit hotter. We might switch it up with some 75-25 here halfway through and see what kind of result we get with it. But I've used this for years. Works good for welding sheet metal, but it does weld hot. You've got to be ready for it. So let's do it. So there you can see just a couple of welds. Go back over them with your roll-lock grinder. I like to use a 2-inch disc for just knocking the welds down. Then we've got to put this rocker panel over the top of this. I've got to take the cab corner off and I've got to weld up through there. Originally I drilled the holes, all of them lined up, but the panel doesn't slide down quite where it needs to. I don't want to have to fight with getting all of it lined up to weld holes through it. I want to be able to fit this cab corner and make the door fit it. That's what really matters. So we're going to get these all welded up and then move on. All right, so I showed you my trick with the drill and cleaning the E-coat and the weld through primer off. Now, how about taking this and like squishing that hole flat? And then I can put it over there and I have a perfectly tight fit now. I did clean the back side of this panel, but it's just always, there's a little bit of distortion there. And I like to have 2 pairs of vice grips forward of where I'm going to be welding. You know, I'll only weld this plug weld hole and that plug weld hole, and then I'll come down for this one and I'll crimp it all up, smash it flat. That way our whole seam is nice and tight underneath there. Since we got it all welded up and ground down and everything is going to be like sandwiched underneath stuff, we're going to go ahead and give it another little coat of this cold galvanizing compound. Works good as your weld through primer. Let's give it all a nice little spray. Keep the rust worms away, baby. Yep, give that a little bit of extra right there. All right, there we go. Next thing, we got to fit up our rocker on here. All right, Kershaw scriber. Got this thing held in here, fitted up, scribed so we can get a good butt joint back here at the back of this. I have this edge is butted up now, so when the door shuts, we have a true door gap. Gonna get this fitted, clamped, screwed back here, then we'll fit the front of it, and yeah. All right, so we got everything kind of holes drilled, deburred, a little bit of grinding, very little bit on the inside. When you're welding this stuff, the heat's going to burn the paint off that much in there, so it'll be fine. Whew, all right, after many hours of grinding and fitting, we've got our rocker panel is tack welded in place, and our cab corner has the final fit. And I mean, I don't know if that shows up on camera, but we've spent a little bit of time here to try to get that gap like as small as possible. The only issue I'm coming up with is back here at the back. This panel's a little bit short, so I am going to tack the front corner and possibly come back here with a little pocket screwdriver and pry that out a little bit. Try to close up our gap just a small amount and tack that in. It's good here, but as it comes around the corner, we're off maybe the thickness of a piece of sheet metal, so it's not bad, but we can always get it better. Yeah, pretty much flush everywhere. I did have to cut a tack here and a tack here. They were slightly out of a line, but I mean now that screwdriver doesn't catch going back and forth across them, so oh wow, I wonder how long that's been like that. That could be why our welds look like crap. Nah, it's probably just because we can't weld. Hobart brand wire. We're gonna look and see where this is made, because I went, yeah, look at me. Yeah, I got a haircut, didn't I? I went to the welding shop today to buy some real MIG welding wire, not to my farm and garden store or whatever, because it's always made in China. And I'm working on American cars. I hate to weld them back together with Chinese welding wire. But, so I go to my local welding store, and it is a bit more expensive, let me tell you folks. It is an experience there, but we're using 030 ER70S-6. I mean, that's typical wire. Read and comply with the warning on the box. So I'm not sure what that warning is, but I do know that holding this camera and opening this box is utterly painful on my fingers. There we go. Let's get it open. Come on. Man. You see Made in USA anywhere on here? That's what I'm wondering. This is like $7 more for this than it was to go to that home and garden show. I mean store, whatever. So here we go. Oh, crap. What is that? Made in Vietnam. Oh, dang, fellers, it's back in Nam. This is probably melted down AK-47s and M16s from the big war. All right, anyway, let's get it put in the welder and get back to welding, guys. All right, so I clipped it off the spool, pop that open, it opens up. Then I'm going to change the contactor tip at the same time, that little tip there in the nozzle. That's what that thing is called. And yeah, I've loosened it up. I'm going to pull it out, and then you know, you waste like 10 feet of wire because you got that extra long lead so you can really reach and go everywhere. Something else they make for these machines, they make a little like felt piece that fits on them before the wire goes into the feeder, and that felt piece wipes the dirt and the dust off of your wire so it doesn't go in and fill your liner up. That's kind of important. But like this welder hasn't welded hardly at all. The last MIG welder I had was like probably 30 years old, and I'd never had to change the liner. If you're careful with them, you're good. You just don't want to kink your welding lead. Well, okay, here we are, and we've got our weld seam full welded and ground. Everything inside of here is still, we're working at it. I got all the plug welds done, but I've got to do a little work here on my seam. And the very front, we got to pull the door off to be able to access it. I have been working back here, and that's the last little bit of welding we got to do, other than standing on our head and welding all the plug welds in the bottom. That's never any fun, but we got to do it all, so we'll just keep after it. Well, there you go. After we got that done, we got a good fit up here on our door. The gap's good and everything. Now, like I said, it's time to, we got to crawl up underneath this thing and spend the rest of our lives welding overhead, filling up these plug welds. So gonna get that done, and then I got chores to do. Well, I don't know when I clued you guys into the last update, but yeah, here we are. And everything was ground on this cab corner section, so we went ahead and just schmoozed a little filler on there and got it knocked down. It has some low spots in the middle of it, but not bad at all. Most of the stuff is just little pinholes and glaze kind of stuff. And then I have this all cleaned and prepped and ready to apply filler to next. And we're still working on grinding all of these down, but we'll get them ground pretty quick. I mean, you might ask, why don't you grind everything at the same time? Well, if I can get filler wiped on, it has to dry. While the filler's drying, I grind welds. That kind of thing. You just can't grind right beside where you're body filling or anything like that. I've got areas cleaned up and ready to wipe that are close together and out of the way of my grinding. So, hey, let's get her done. We'll mix up a little Bondo and yeah, here we are, friends. Not gonna make too much. That's a big problem. You ever have that where you're gonna fix a dent and you go to grab a little bit of filler and like, oh, I need a little bit more than that. And then by the time you get it mixed and over to where you're going, you realize, man, I mixed up way too much body filler. And then it took you so long to mix it, before you get it fully wiped, it starts to set up on you. I always hate it when that happens like that. So today, we're just using the old Rage. I think it's Rage Extreme, actually. It's pretty good body filler as far as body filler goes. Just this stuff is left over from another project. We'll probably have to have the customer go and buy some new materials when we get ready to really do a lot on the old truck, but for right now we're just gonna schmooze with the old stuff and it'll be fine. We are definitely getting somewhere on this old project truck though. It's always tempting to wipe just a crap ton of this on there. You got to resist that urge. So the old saying is easy to put on, hard to get off. Yeah. Unless you're just going to grind it all off. Or unless you're doing such clean body work you don't need any of this at all. That would be awesome. But I don't think it's going to take us very long to work what we have here, get it primed, and on out of here. If I tried to metal finish all this, it would take 20 years. So, yep, just coat her down good, push it in there good and tight, and we'll be able to let this sit and get dry as we grind a little bit. Idiot cat. You're just knocking stuff off left and right, aren't you? See, so I mixed up just a small amount and I still didn't get it all wiped on there before it got set up on me. That's okay. We can always make more. All right, so first round of body filler is sanded all back here. Everything up in this corner is now all prepped. The welds on the bottom are all ground down. So I gotta wipe that edge right there. Fill a couple of little light pinholes there. Gotta come in and fill. Gotta knock that down still. Yeah, one little high spot there in our seam. So not bad, not bad. Well, all right, let's call the painter. We got here all the body work done. Filler work's all sanded with 180, metals with 180, so we get good adhesion. And all that's left is to cover this thing up with plastic, and we're gonna prime pretty much that whole cab corner from here down, the whole rocker up into this lower hinge right in here. And then we'll take and we'll jam inside of this later so we can put the door back on. Everything's finished out. We just gotta mask her off and mix us up some primer, and we're in business. All right, so here we are. You can tell wax and grease remover is evaporating off here as we speak. I like to give it a little bit of time. I mean, I'm not working on commission, fighting the clock, so give the stuff a little bit of time. Let it evaporate good. That body filler really soaks it up, and it could cause us some problems later on. Look at this masking job here. It's janky at best, but I curl this stuff over so it doesn't leave a hard line. I did kind of sand a little, got some bare metal there. One bare metal spot all the way up here. Hate that, but that's the way it is. And then here I have it all curled back, so no hard lines there. And up at the front, we're just going to be real careful up there we don't prime up to our paper. I did leave my plastic up much higher, because what we're going to do is we're going to prime this, we're going to sand it around where the bodywork is, and then we're going to prep up on those jambs to blend the color, clear, burn in the clear inside the jambs. Common practice, it's what we need to do. I'm not working on this all the time, so I want to get it primed and the bare metal all protected. If we were doing this job and we were going to start on it and finish it in a couple weeks, I would not prime and paint little parts and pieces. I would do it all at the same time, just because of waste of material. Every time you mix, you waste a little bit. But since this thing, we're going to be working on it forever, it seems like, because of other projects and whatnot, we want to protect that metal. We'll get the epoxy on there to do the protection, and then we'll go ahead and spray high build on top of it so we have something to sand and block. And I'll paint these jambs in here before I roll it out. I mean, it's really only about a 6 more hours and it'll be where I can put the door back on it over here, and then we can get it out of here and get the 35 Chevy back in and take care of a little list that we made while we were out driving it. It's got some stuff needs to be taken care of. So, hey, anyway, if you want me to show spraying this, I mean, you just leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, tell me what you want me to do next, okay? Well, all right, guys, here we go. We're going to spray a little primer on this thing. Woo, less air pressure. There we go. That's in about the right realm. So, cheap Amazon PPS cups, or these plastic disposable cups, they work super good. And then just going to go in, and really this is just to protect the bare metal so we're not priming the full panels, okay? Yay! Yeah, there we go. All right, so nice. You see how it's all on there, right? Yeah. So there we go. We'll let this dry, and then we'll come in and we'll hit it with some high build. There's still enough in here. I'm going to spray the rest of what's on this gun on there, but I got to give it about 20 minutes to flash off good because epoxy dries super slow. And it's not really highly warm out here right now. So there you guys go. We got our bodywork primed. I mean, you can come along here and look at it. See what you got. In there, everything looks pretty cool. Up in here, everything's pretty cool. And down here, all underneath it. Yeah. So that's what it takes. know why you went dead, but here you go. Brake parts cleaner, lacquer thinner in this. You could use reducer, the same stuff you thinned your paint with. It's just really expensive. And I know everybody, they whine about how much it takes to clean this gun, but one can of this brake parts cleaner would probably clean this gun all the way through a whole paint job. So quit your whining and just go, guys. Yeah. So big day on this thing today to get it all in primer like that. You can see she laid down pretty slick, but that's only the epoxy, fellas. That gets high build put on it, and then we'll be able to block that stuff. This provides adhesion, corrosion protection, all that. The high build primer gives you something to sand and block and get things straight. All these were just little bitty door dings, so we got them all taken care of. Our rust repair stuff all looks awesome. We're moving on.